Hello, good afternoon. Um, my name is Mary Francis, and I'm the Direct Relief Program Manager for Alnedo, Navajo and Hopi Families COVID-19 Relief Fund. So this is Sihasin Hour, and this week we will be discussing the flood that had happened out near Sheep Springs, or in Sheep Springs. And we have two special guests here. And I will go ahead and give them the floor so that they can share, do an introduction. So Ariel, would you be able to start with an introduction?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Adrienne Joe. Kiani and Shlin, Kiani Bashi, Tachini Dashache, Ashin Dashanale. My mother is Adrienne Joe from Sheep Springs. My paternal grandparents are Sally and Benny Joe from Sheep Springs. I am a stay-at-home mom of two beautiful girls. I am also expecting number 3 by next year. So I like to stay at home mom.
Wonderful, thank you, Ariel. And then Adrienne, can you introduce yourself? I think you're on mute, Adrienne.
Okay, gives me a do-over. Yat a anofto, she Adrienne Joe Yinchia, Kia Ani Ainsley do Twitch ini a Kia Ani slow Twitch ini a bushes chin, but Ani a che, do Kia Ani a dashanal. Sheep Springs, New Mexico, de ado nashad o a adashalan. I lived in Sheep Springs for my entire life. I originate from there, and I have my mother is Kathleen Jones. My grandparents are Alice Yazi and the late Kia Ben Yazi. We originate in Sheep Springs at a little higher level in Sheep Springs, but I married down level to where I am currently at, where I reside with my in-laws in the area that was filmed for the flooding. I work for the Navajo Nation. I've worked with the Navajo Nation for over 20 years. Since I've turned 19, I've worked with the Navajo Nation. I started my employment with Department of Health, and I work with the Division of Public Safety right now. So, and that's my daily task every day, is just work and home. I also am a chapter official for the Sheep Springs chapter as their secretary treasurer as well. So that's me. And I do have 2 children. Ariel is 1, and I have a son, Aaron. I also have 2 nieces, Mariana and Marina, that and then, like I said, we do reside with our in-laws, my mom and my dad, my late mom and my dad, Benny Joe.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, congratulations, Ariel, on your new little one that you're expecting. And then I can say, Adrienne, I thought you guys were sisters.
We get that a lot.
We get that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I do have some questions, so we'll just go ahead and get things going. Oh, I forgot to do my clan introduction. I'm so sorry. So yeah, idene tachi ni nashla ado tapahapa shichin. Do look at the shade. And I'm originally from Coppermine and Inscription House area. And my mom is originally from Inscription House and my dad is from Coppermine. So I do claim both locations. So, okay. So let's go ahead and get things started. So on Wednesday, August 17th, Sheep Springs chapter experienced like a severe monsoon flooding. Tell us about the weather leading up to the heavy downpour.
So we were home. I was at my mom's house. I do have my own house. So we were there. My daughter was at school. Sorry, hold on, phone call. So it was a nice day. It was sunny, but I do remember hearing thunder in the back, which is to the west, which is where Cheska Mountain is. So it was mostly all day. You could hear a thunder at the mountain. So you knew there was something going on up at the mountains. And as the day went on, it got closer and closer. I had to get my daughter from school, from a friend's house also. And it's a good thing we picked her up because I was afraid she was going to get scared of the thunder. So that's why we picked her up early. And it was perfectly fine. She came home and the wind came. It was like all of a sudden, like around, I would say 4:30, the wind came, and we're known for our windstorms here. Basically, the roads will disappear. We can't see the neighbor's house, so we're basically more known for the wind. And the wind came, and it was like gone in a couple minutes, and the rain came. I would say a rain for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And we were just there sitting, and the wash is known for getting water. However, it's just never been that extreme. After the rain had gone, the clouds were still around, but the wind was gone, everything was calm. And next thing you know, we're looking outside and there's water all around us.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And yeah, that had to be pretty scary. And then you mentioning the when the high winds are occurring, that the roads are not visible. I think Ethel, and there's a few folks that were traveling through there during a sandstorm, and they said they couldn't see the road at all. So that's something else. So at what point before the flooding did you notice that, the flood was, or did you know that it became an issue?
Ariel?
I think I noticed when it was gonna be an issue was when my dad, yelled. He's like, "Oh my God, look outside."
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, because the rain had gone, and surprisingly, we still had power at our house.
Mhm.
So I looked outside, and that's when I first started recording outside the window.
Oh.
And it was so high that, I was like, we basically have a pool in our backyard. And so that's when I noticed that, okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to get out of this right now. I'm very glad that, water wasn't able to come inside the house, but I knew it was an issue once, I saw how high it was from the window. And I did run to the other side of the house, the front of the house, and I also started recording there. And that's when you just see water, lots of water, and things rushing and stuff floating away. And I mean, there's not much I could do. I mean, I could just, watch. And as long as my house or the house was not moving, or, there wasn't water coming into the house, I knew that we were okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that everybody was okay. And I've seen the video. It seemed like a pretty, intense situation where, the water was just going. And, as the flooding grew heavier, were you just confined, was everybody just confined to the house, like, you know, just not being able to go outside for quite some time, not really sure how long the water rushed through there?
Yeah, we had to just stay inside. Like I said, that we looked around to make sure there was no water coming inside the
Yeah.
house. So I knew if we stayed in the house, we were okay, but I was concerned at one point that the house could start moving. I just made sure to, you know, keep my children close to me. We did know that, you know, the porch where we were standing was, you know, it was cemented in with the poles were cemented in. So we kind of figured, you know, the porch is what's holding the house there. But as far, we were there in that water for at least, I would say, an hour, hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe even longer. But I knew we could not go anywhere because it's coming from both sides and it's hard and it's really, it's fast. So I knew we were okay where we were at. And then at one point I thought to myself, what if I need to get out? What if we need to get out? How do we get out? And I mean, of course, people were telling me, you know, you should be at higher ground. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Let me just go find a ladder while this water is going. But
Yeah.
you know, obviously that just everything was out of the question. We were okay where we were at. And but like I said, it was kind of, you know, what do I do if I do need to get out? There's really nothing I could have done to get out. I mean, it's not like there was going to be a helicopter to save us soon.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So tell us about the force of the water and the flood. Like, it seemed to be like moving the cars and then a few different things here and there. I think I saw like a tractor floating by, and you know, there were just, it looks like heavy items were just floating by. Yeah, tell us about that. Like, how is, how were, I mean, were there damages? Of course, damages, like how extreme were the damages on the house, cars, the roads that you guys use, the road that you guys usually take, and then, you know, the livestock that, you know, that are around there?
I really can't explain how the water was that powerful. But I do know, you know, from what we saw and what we experienced, that it was strong and it was heavy. You know, of course we lost our vehicles and our white horse trailer, which was, you know, near the Hogan, literally was down the road, and an RV trailer that we did have, you know, is torn apart and floated into pieces down the road. My car, my go-kart, a lot of my kids' toys that they had outside, you know, all those were swept away. So I can't really explain, you know, how powerful it is, but it was powerful enough to take these stuff away from us. And, you know, it's just, I'm happy that it just didn't take myself or my kids or any of my family.
Yeah, yeah. So after, wow, yeah, so yeah, it's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that, you know. I once was talking to an an elderly woman, a Muslim, and she shared how, you know, that their vehicle was taken, and this is in, I think, the 40s, back then. And she said she wasn't very fortunate. She did lose her family, but she was telling me about that, and she just said it was just really strong, and thankfully, you know, everybody is safe, you know. And it was in an area, and thank goodness for that porch as well, that held
Yes.
your house in place.
Yes.
The other thing that I was just so amazed at is the Hawana Maza, you know, it was just, it just stood strong and steady. So
Yes.
kudos to whoever built that hogan.
Yes. Oh,
So
let me, this is, I know we don't have much of, oh shoot, you won't be able to see it. But this is kind of the area that we live in. You
let me
see,
see. Oh, okay.
see the
Okay.
house there,
Oh,
and then you see the wash there. And then,
yeah.
so all the vehicles were lined up. They were still running. The van was the only one that had some transmission issues. So we just had them parked because we do have other vehicles, the newer vehicles that we've been using.
Mhm.
And going back, we've lived there for over 20 years. We moved there from just off of 491, and my dad has roots there. And I think his roots are a lot stronger than, you know, home site lease these days.
Mhm.
So we moved back, he moved us back there, and we took care of livestock. My father-in-law has livestock. Our cows and our horses are fine. They were at the mountain at the time, so they didn't float down
Mhm.
to us, so they're fine. They weren't there. We had chickens. I have 10 chickens who are also my children. They were all fine. They were inside their chicken coop. They're fine. They just took they huddled up on top of their house inside their
Oh,
cage, and they were all up there. And that's one of the first things I asked Ariel when she called me about it. And I was like, my chickens, where are my chickens? And she just kind of
oh.
like started counting for my chickens.
Uh-huh.
And then I had we had puppies. We had 4 puppies. One of our dogs had puppies, and you know, Ariel's daughter, my granddaughter, was crying and screaming for the puppies because they were born inside one of the bushes that were there, and the water was going through there.
Oh
And she was like,
no.
the puppies, the puppies. But you know, my husband couldn't get to the puppies at that time. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, we lost 1 puppy, but the other puppies were hanging on. So when the water subsided, you know, they were able to
Mhm.
check on the puppies first thing.
Oh, okay.
Um, so the vehicles were parked there. My dad's old ranch truck, that's the one that's been the heaviest. It didn't really go very far. The
Mhm.
horse trailer did move, and it got stuck in dirt. We have a lot of dirt in our front yard around our home now. A
Mhm.
lot of dirt.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of debris, and debris that it came from the mountain. We have pine cones, we have pinon trees, you know, cedar trees that we don't see in our area other than Dewiji.
Mhm.
Those all floated under our home, around our home, everything. And I myself was at work. I work in Shiprock. So I was at work, and that day, you know, Ariel and we love to hit coupons and clearance. So we were headed to Home Depot to
Mhm.
get to check on their 90% off sale. So we were headed
Oh.
to Home Depot, or not Home Depot. I did
Hobby
so many
Lobby.
Home Depot choose Hobby Lobby, Hobby Lobby. So that was our plan. So she says, okay. And Ariel is a baker. So she bakes at my house only because it's larger for her to do her baking. So
Mhm.
she was baking cupcakes for an order that day. And that's why she was over at our home. And of course, I have my 77-year-old dad in the home as well. So she goes and often checks on him throughout the day, throughout the week for us.
Yeah.
So I was headed home. I was on my way home, and they call me. They're like, I don't think you're going to Hobby Lobby. And we're like, why not? I'm okay. I got to Ariel's house, and I'm like, I made it. I have a car. I'm fine. And then he goes, don't come home. Don't come home. The road is really bad. I'm like, okay. So I didn't take the main road that we usually take to go home. I took an alternate route. So I'm like, the road is fine. I get there. And then when I finally turned to go north towards the house, there
Mhm.
was literally a lake in front of me.
Oh.
I could not go in my car. I could not. And I could not, all I could hear, and Ariel saying she's sending me videos and she's calling me. And, you know, I'm not thinking it's that bad. You know, I couldn't get her videos where I was at because the service was bad. And then I had people calling or texting me saying, Ann, it's really raining. Are you guys okay? And we're like, yeah, we're okay. I just can't get home because there's a lake in front of me. So I got on top of the hill, on top of a hill, and I looked, and all I could see was water, water. I
Mhm.
mean, literally like a lake of water, because we live near fields, where cornfields, people have their fields. So we live right in there. So they, back then our elders used to do, irrigation and everything for these fields. But now us young ones, we're not doing that. We try to, implement that still, but, the water just hasn't been coming lately. We know we live near a wash. We have experienced rain, but it just goes on the wash on its own. Maybe a little goes over and comes by, but nothing this extreme before. So I'm just sitting there not knowing what to do, and I'm on my car and I still hear lightning, and I still, it's raining, and I'm just sitting there. I couldn't do nothing either. Just like Ariel said, she couldn't leave and I couldn't go to them. So until maybe an hour and a half later, when the water subsided, my husband called me and says, let me see if one of the tractors work. Let me see if the tractor works. So I'm like, okay. I said, I can make it. And he's like, no, you can't, because I, for one, didn't see what went through. And so then later he picked me up in the tractor. He picked me up. I'm like half a mile away. He picked me up in the tractor. He drove me back and I was in shock. I was amazed. I'm like, where's all the vehicles? Where's the toys? Everything. My husband's truck was the one that hit the shed. That was parked by the house when I left this morning, and now it's there. And I was just amazed, and I couldn't help but just cry and think like, oh my God, this just really happened. I'm like worried about the house. And the first thing I asked is, everybody okay? And everybody was okay. It was just, shocking. We don't know how to react to something like this, because first of all, it's amazing to see that and catch it on video. Secondly, you're in shock and you're like not knowing what to feel emotionally. And so my husband and I and Ariel, the three of us, have volunteered with the fire department for over 11 years with San Juan County Fire Department. So we've seen stuff like this. We've helped people get out of the floods, but we had equipment, we had the ropes and we had training to do that. So I was so glad and I was so thankful that they used that knowledge not to get into the water. If you look at the video, you hear my husband say, my truck, and then you hear him say, I can't do anything. The water is just too strong. I can't do anything. And I am so grateful that he didn't, because if the water was so strong to take all our fencing, to take all our propane bottles and stuff that were around the house, the vehicles, So after everything subsided, everybody was settled. My husband and I walked the wash because I was curious where everything went. So we found the truck on its side. That was the first one that we found. Then we found the RV trailer, which was in pieces. What we found was the frame. And then we walked further and we were able to find the van, which was pretty much just on top of the widgies. There's the van. So that's the van. We found that in that state. And then further down in front of, in our neighbor's yard, we found the black car. We found the black car with our water tanks. The black car we found in somebody's yard with the water tanks as well. And the toolbox, the toolbox I usually keep my chicken feed in was down there. And one propane bottle. We checked on our neighbors. One of them, she said, they're fine. That was the truck. We checked on our neighbors. She said she just lost her woods. We got the impact of the entire water, and it just kind of flowed in front of our house and back to the wash. So it didn't really go into everyone else's as heavy as ours. They got water, but not as heavy as we did. And then we just started walking back up, like about half a mile down, and we started walking back up, and just our main road to go to our home was completely washed out. I mean, literally they were ditches, they couldn't get. We checked on our elderly neighbors that were down the road. They were fine. And we walked back up to the house and we just packed up because we didn't know if it was coming again. We packed up, we had no water. We had no water in the home. We had no propane because the propane bottles floated away and the hookup broke. So we had nothing. So we just kind of just abandoned the house. We abandoned the house, and my husband and I took shelter at my daughter Ariel's home. And then my father-in-law, we took him to my sister-in-law's home at the housing. So we stayed there. We stayed there, and we just waited. The next day we did, I took the afternoon off, and because I couldn't work, I just couldn't work. I was just so worried about everything. We didn't go back after we left that night.
Mhm.
I went to work, and then I told my boss, I really got to get back home. I need to find out, see the damage, because by that time it got dark, we didn't really look around to see everything. So then I was able to take the day off, the afternoon off, and I went home. And it was at that time we got visitors, the chapter had people over there. We got contacted by KOB as well. The Navajo Nation president had made an appearance to the Sheep Springs chapter, and he
Mhm.
was touring the area, and they came to our home. Ariel and I were literally sitting on the porch. I picked her up and we got to the house, and we were literally sitting on the porch in tears with memories of watching everything. The chash was gone, many parties, many butchering and stuff that was done there. It's there with the Hogan, because you need a shade house to cook for your ceremonies and stuff. And yes, the Hogan is strong. We're strong too. That Hogan was built when Ariel was a little girl, because we wanted to have her kinalta. When you have a daughter, you prepare to do these ceremonies for your children. So we did that. Although she wasn't the first to use it, it was used by many of our relatives to have their kinalta, to have their healing ceremonies and everything. And we built that. We helped, we all did. Our neighbors, my husband's family, my dad's family, we cut down those logs, we skinned those logs, and we put it in just like traditional. My mother-in-law was very traditional. She was very traditional. She taught us all of this, and we had to, we made it the way she wanted us to. And we have pictures from the time it was built, and it is still standing strong. It took in water, of course. It took in water and some dirt, but we just left the Hogan open to let it air out, let it dry inside. So it's fine. We don't have, it didn't even move. So it was really good, that the Hogan is strong. And I think that's what gives us the strength to continue. Although, our neighbors are still waiting for help. They're still waiting for that road to be repaired. Fortunately, we were raised by our mom and dad to say, "Ndas nish yego, ndas nish." You're not going to get anything on its own. It's not going to come to you. You have to earn it. You have to get it, work for it. She always instilled that on us, my mother-in-law. And
Mhm.
we lost her about a little over almost 2 years now due to leukemia, but we still keep her teachings. I think I stand a lot to do her teachings. And she always said, we have every right to be here, no matter what anyone says, because, this is our homestead. We built a lot of things there. So
Mhm.
we just took that in, and we started rebuilding.
Mhm.
The very next day, we just started picking up the debris. We started, the tractors back up. And it's so heartwarming that we were able to get volunteers, our family, my aunties, coming over and saying, I'm glad you guys are okay. How can we help? And we
Mhm.
gathered everyone on the 21st on a Sunday. My coworkers, Navajo PD,
Yeah.
they came to help. My boss came to help.
Oh, wow.
Literally, she's under the trailer taking out all these debris. My
Yeah.
aunties, they have their own health issues, but they're filling sandbags out there. And my coworkers, my friends, our family, we got, and one of the biggest thing was Justin Bowman. He comes from Kirtland, a total stranger to us. He came looking for us because it got a little crazy with TikTok. I mean, literally got crazy to where it was stressful, and we just said no more. We'll just stop and not look at it and just leave it. And
Mhm.
Justin tried to reach out to us on TikTok, but and then he made the initiative to come out to find us. And we're outside Saturday morning, and he ended up, some strange vehicle pulls up, and I'm looking, and he's like, my name is Justin, and I saw your video, and I commented, and then nobody responded to me, but I want to help. He says, I have a backhoe. I want to help bring your stuff back. So he went home that same day and he came that same afternoon and pulled all our vehicles back. He pulled the truck back. He pulled the van back. He pulled the car back. He pulled the big old water tank that we use for the animals back. All the heavy stuff that we needed back, he brought them back for us.
Oh, wow.
You know, although he had some issues coming to us, he busted a tire. He busted another tire that caught on fire. He still made it to our location. He didn't leave us until like midnight, and he had a birthday the next day. So we just baked him a birthday cake and we thanked him so much. And, you know, it's just kind-hearted people like that that have really reached out to us, sent prayers that have made us stronger to go ahead and just rebuild. So it's been non-stop labor work for all of us. Ariel's been our cook because, of course, you know, she is expecting, so she can't do any of the heavy lifting and stuff. But we've all been taking part. You know, this past week we did, starting Thursday, my son who lives in Washington State, you know, he drove back down to help us. He pretty much funded all our supplies and materials to purchase stuff. We had a good friend of our families that bought us a new propane bottle, and I bought you a propane bottle. Go pick it up at Home Depot. We went over there, picked it up. You know, a few, you know, we got some donations from Cash App, you know, that filled up our propane bottle, and we were able to get that back up and cook a meal. We're so relieved to cook a meal again because we were just dealing with fast food that whole for several days. So we did that. I've been trying to get some professional advice for someone to tell us our home. Like I said, most people don't have insurance on their home, but we do have insurance on our home. But when we did contact our insurance company, unfortunately, it doesn't cover Mother Nature flooding. It covers flooding if the water pipe broke in the house, you know. And like I mentioned, we do have an elderly in our home. My dad, who is also a veteran, who has also been a chapter official for many, many years as a grazing committee, as a vice president for our community. He has done a lot, and he's an old in age now, 77, you know, with his health problems. And we didn't want him to worry about what was going on. So we, as the children, you know, took it upon ourselves to do all of this. And my nieces and my kids, you know, they all stepped up and we said, let's do this, let's get it done. So we've been working. Again, as I mentioned, the Navajo Nation president did give us a visit, and unfortunately, I didn't hear we didn't hear what we wanted to hear. We know how we this is how we're going to help you. How do you want us to help you? None of that. All it was just looking around. This is what needs, you know. Oh, that's it. We never heard back after that day. Our local chapter provided us some water and some toiletry and stuff, which was fine, and some sandbags. Then that's what we use, and that's all the donations we've had, anything from the Navajo Nation. My job has been, you know, grateful to give me time off and give us support. Are you guys okay? What else do you guys need? You know, here's, you know, they've been wonderful. But as far as anything from the Navajo Nation president, I hate to say that we did not get any kind of assistance from them. We just kept hearing, we're going to go over there. All I wanted was an assessment. Just tell me if my house needs to be re-leveled. Just tell me if I need to worry about mold under my house because of all that water that soaked up all that under the installation of the mobile home. No one ever came, so we just took it upon ourselves to rip out all that installation and replace it with, replace it. We're near completion. We're probably about 70% done to do that, to do all of that. But you know, you have to do it. They always say, home is where the heart is. And our mother, our father are our hearts, to where we have to keep that house upkeep, you know, upkeep the home, take care of that, because this is where our family gathers. This is where our kids come home to while they're out and working in different states and different areas, and they come home during the holidays, you know, And we can't just leave it like that because this home protects us, you know, even our Hogan, Bogan, if we're not citizen, you know, all this stuff, we have to protect it. So we just couldn't wait for help to come to us. We had to help ourselves and get it done.
Oh,
So it's been very difficult. It's been stressful, and we're tired. Honestly, we're tired because we're working nonstop since that day.
mhm,
But a lot of weight have been lifted off my shoulder from this past week. We've been working 4 to 5 days nonstop, just underneath the house, taking all that dirt that was piled up under there just to make room for the boys to put the insulation in underneath, because literally just a little place just to go under. So we had to dig the dirt out, and there was no other way but using
mhm,
a winter sleigh to put the dirt on and pull it out. And Ariel does have a video on her TikTok about it.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's you know, something bad that had happened, but
Oh,
we are thankful for the moisture. You know, we were cleaning Ariel's yard the other day, and the one day before this, and we found our Che, our horn toad. You know, we put our corn pollen bean hitzilto. We even put water on there. Tosla, we want water. My
mm,
husband teases me that I put too much water on him. That's why we got a lot of water. So, but you know, we believe in all of that. So we're
yeah,
not mad at Mother Nature. It happens, you know,
mhm,
and honestly, it happens. We're thankful for the moisture, and I cannot understand why it happened. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe Mother Nature is telling us, get up, you guys need to clean up and repair some stuff,
mhm,
or, you know, time to
mhm,
start over, do better. You know, I don't know. We don't know, but we'll just in time just continue what we're doing now,
mhm,
and to
mhm.
get things situated. But
Yeah,
it's been an experience, and I can just imagine other people in different parts of the Navajo Nation that have endured flooding, that are still waiting for help from their chapters, still
yeah,
waiting from the Navajo Nation, or even for their family or friends to step up and help them. We
mhm,
were just fortunate that we were able to get that support and
mhm.
help from them. At least, you know, when anybody asks what we needed, all we need is hands. We need labor
Oh,
work because it's just us. So that's what we got, and they cleaned up around. You know, it was sad to see the trash all go down because half of it
oh,
was already gone. So the
mhm,
tractor just tipped it over, and then everybody just took it apart and piled up all the lumber that was left. So, but we're moving on. We're staying
yeah,
positive about this whole thing.
mhm,
We can't, you know, there's nothing we can be mad about or be upset about, because we
mhm,
wanted moisture. We got it. And I'm thankful for it, because you drive down the road, you see green, you see greenage. But, you know,
mhm, mhm.
lives can't be replaced, but everything that we lost can be. And we are replacing a lot of things. So,
Yeah,
it's been an experience, and not everyone can catch it on video like Ariel did.
yeah, that was,
that's
yeah,
that's
that was
that's something,
extraordinary.
you know.
Um, yeah, so you actually answered, some of the questions that I had in mind, especially with, how you were able to get some assistance from the chapter and the tribal. So thank you for sharing that portion. But so there was no um, outreach or like advice from any of the tribal offices to let you know what the next steps are. Um, I mean, you were very fortunate to, have the support of your community members.
Mhm.
But also, you did mention, there's other families out there that may need, help and may not have gotten the support
Mhm.
that you did from the community members. And because it was on TikTok, there was so much people that were concerned. But for the families that that kind of endured the same thing, I wonder what processes they went through, and if there's an office that the president had suggested for for assistance in some way. So eshe then ado tsada.
And then ado yon hich hadzita president ado ni had not ani honorable Amber Crowdy thought he yande. And then the NDOT, Navajo Department of Transportation, the Division Director, Garrett Silversmith, Aston Khania. And then, they looked around and, we talked what we experienced, just like we are doing now. And all I told them was, I just want to get back into our home. We just want to make sure our home is okay. So, and then we did have, like I said, I am a chapter official as well. However, my chapter was helping other people as well. And I'm like, we're okay. Help others that need the help. But, unfortunately, our road is still the same on the upper Ko. Our elders that live down the road from us can't even get anybody to go to their homes now because that road is still really bad. I don't know who's going to come, who's going to fix it. We do have a little farm tractor, but that damage is not enough for our farm tractor to fix. It has to be something a lot greater than that. So yes, I wonder the same thing, and I have spoken to the presidential candidates. This is what I experienced. You need to make something a little simpler, something simpler for somebody to get immediate help. Because we have some elders that are still waiting. We still have families with low income that are still waiting to have their road repaired, to have their home roof repaired or something. If something is declared an emergency, we should be able to get that emergency help right away, not with all this red tape or waiting for someone to come and help us.
Right.
But I have to just stick back to my teachings from my mom and my dad telling me, you have to do it. So that's why I had to step up for the family and do it, because like I said, who else is going to do it for us? We have to take care of it. And it's just been, just waiting, but at least we got most of it done. We're near completion. Other stuff, the main thing is our home. Other stuff around, our chasha, our fencing, that can wait, but our home was the main thing because winter is approaching. And we can't, in a mobile home, especially when you have your elderly dad in the home, that freezes a lot, even though it's summer. So it's like you have to make sure everything is secured for him. So, but he was there, he saw the whole thing, and so did my husband and my grandkids. And nobody sees a trauma afterwards of it either. Although you hear thunder and everybody's like, is the water coming again? That fear is there. But, we just have to keep continuing to say, it's okay. We're going to be okay. We're fine. We couldn't touch the wash because my son wanted to do that, is to, reroute the wash or something. But we were told that we couldn't because of a cultural, I can't remember what they said, but we were told that we're not allowed to touch that wash. So the only thing we could do is just try to do a barrier around our house. But I thought that's it, and that's what happened. But I don't think it's going to happen again. But I can't predict the future. And yes, the climate change, I hear that a lot. People tell me, you never know. I'm like, we don't need sandbags, we'll be fine. But no, climate change. So, my volunteers filled over 300 bags and put that bag on there. And, no one told us how we're supposed to set up sandbags. So we did all this work, and it was heavy. The dirt was heavy, putting it on the line. And then next thing you know, we're told, National Guard came and they looked at it. DEM came, looked at it. Oh, you guys did it wrong. Well, you didn't give us enough sandbags to make it a pyramid like we're supposed to. So, it's done, and so far it's working. But we did get rain a couple of times, and so far it hasn't gone over. It just flowed in the wash like it used to. Our wash is no longer a wash too, because all that dirt just filled it up, the dirt and rocks and stuff. So the wash is no longer deep. It's just maybe 2 feet now, where it was deeper before. So I don't know what the plan is or anything to do that. When I ask questions, nobody has answers for me. So it's just pretty much up to ours to do all the repairs and to prepare if it does happen again. I even looked into moving the house. I'm like, what's it going to cost me to move the house? It's going to cost me nearly $10,000 to move that house. But where am I going to move it? Ayo, basahat long land, you know, you can't move there, you can't move there. I mean, where we're at now in the basahat long, even though, like I said, my dad has roots there, his family lived there, and yet, you know, we get that. I just don't understand the dispute of land most of the time. So that wasn't an option. We said, no, we're not moving. This is where we're staying, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay there and just, you know, deal with it and just make it better and make ourselves a barrier to help us. But I'm just really thankful that my family is fine. Everybody is okay. No lives were lost to it. You know, it was scary. Seeing the video was scary. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to also ask if we can share your Cash App address and then or any other crowdsourcing assistant platforms to fundraise. So just hearing, you know, your experience, there's
Mhm.
still quite a lot that needs to be done, quite a lot, you know, a lot of work that still needs to be done. And then also not knowing, you know, not knowing that um, you'll be safe in that, you know, in the area that you are at right now, and maybe even um, having money to create barriers so that your house and your family is safe.
Yeah.
So we want to know if, yeah, we can share your Cash App, if there's any other fundraising apps that you have, platforms that you have, um, send that to us so that we can share that below in our under our live, and we could definitely share that for you. Um,
Yeah. um yeah, everybody was telling us do a GoFundMe or do your
yeah.
Zelle and everything, but you know, my mom always, my grandma, my son Ellis, she used to always say, ayo, you know, one day you're going to need that help. And I think that really helped us, you know, because my family, I'm one of them that they always come to whenever they need help. You know, I'm always grateful to help any of my family or friends. And I see that now. She was right. You know, for them to all show up and come and help us was amazing.
Yes.
um and so, you know, we did put our Cash App out there because we did have several TikTokers that wanted to help. So to date, you know, we've gotten $144 through TikTok, which has helped us, you know, get like I said, it filled our propane bottle that was purchased for us by Brian, our friend.
Mhm.
And it has, you know, people have given me Home Depot gift cards, and I bought some boards with that. So yeah, we don't mind sharing our Cash App. We can do our Cash App on there
Mhm.
to then I received that Cash App, and then I let my kids know, my everybody, my dad, everyone, I let them know this so and so sent money. I don't know who they are, but they sent money, and we just pray and we just thank them, you know, that we're thankful for everything, all
Yeah.
the help, even the prayers, and you know, even the text messages and calls that we've got. It's been amazing. Well, the amazing support we've gotten from everyone. And then, you know, I know everyone has that question of Navajo Nation, but you know, it's okay. We're okay with it. That's all I can say is we're okay with it. But yeah, it's okay to share our Cash App. That's the only thing what we have right now is our Cash App. And we can put Zelle out there. I do have a Zelle, but it does have my personal phone number, and I don't want to be getting phone numbers. So so that's why we're just using the Cash App just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
we have that. But people have reached out, and if I know them, okay, you know, you can do by cash,
Mhm.
by Zelle as well too. So, and that's been helpful. You know, it's been really helpful. But the
Yeah.
main thing was labor, because there's many ladies, and it's just my husband and my son-in-law that. But
Mhm.
we actually hired two young boys from our community to help us put the boards in. You know, we hired two young guys that were just around that were, hey, you want to earn some money? And they did. And, you know, they worked for us for 4 days, and it was been good. So,
Yeah. Well, that's very nice for the community to come in, and for, you know, Nick A to come in and
oh,
Eshimpe. Um, so ADA Nikaichit.
mhm.
So that's good to know, and glad that you know, that some favors were reciprocated. So,
Oh,
and I just wanted to ask you one last question is, you know, what words of advice do you have for others who are impacted by flooding? You know, in hindsight, how can, you know, they prepare, or how can you prepare for another flood in the future?
I think we just, as Navajos, we don't think the worst. What's on just case the all of that stuff is what they say. But nowadays, yeah, you have to be prepared. Um, I think I honestly wouldn't know because we weren't prepared for it
Right.
either. But now, we are working on the barriers, at least just to put a ditch behind our house to leave send the water a different direction than around our home. Um, and just know that, it has to be you. It has to be you within to prepare and to get things started and done to get back to where you were at or even higher than where you were at. It has to be you because no one else is going to do it. From our experience, it had to be us to do it. It had to be me. It had to be my husband. It had to be my dad, my daughter, my son, my nieces. It had to be us to get it back to where we used to. So, and then the support and family out there, I hardly saw them because of the pandemic, and they were there. I had nieces and nephews that came and all that stuff out, and I'm like, wow, I was just so grateful. It's just so I'm amazed about how much help we got from them. So, but nothing prepares us for the worst. But to be prepared, don't go in the water. Don't go in there. If you see it, just stay where you're at. Stay where you're safe. And I'm glad that they felt that. Everybody was wondering where they were taking the photo, the video from. It was our porch. We have a porch, and that's where they were sitting at. My dad often sits on that porch and looks around and just sits there, and with how elders are with their fly swatter and they just sit outside. That's my dad. So literally that's what they did. They just sat outside and watched everything go. And I'm just, don't go into water. It's even a little bit of water can float you away. Just stay where you're at safely until it goes until the water settles. But yes, prepare if you can. If you live in an area as such, we are definitely going to be prepared now. If it does happen again, we're going to make sure that our home is protected, our homestead is protected. But we're very fortunate to have our support from family and friends, coworkers that have reached out to us, and I can't thank them enough. I honestly can't. Even Justin with his tractor, I can't thank him enough. He was a total stranger to us, but now he has a place in our hearts for helping us bring all those vehicles back. And the horse trailer, we took the horse trailer out ourselves with 2 tractors. But it did have some damages, and I don't know how we're gonna get those fixed, but
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
it's
wow.
our lives are fine, and everybody's fine. And but yeah, we're hoping one day somebody will actually fix the road so we don't have to take another route to get out of our homestead. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then we, like Ariel mentioned, we do live in that area where that whole dust storm on 491 that you see on videos as well, we live right at that tail end of that dust storm. So we see that dust storm, we go through that as well.
Mhm.
So, but yep, it's been an experience, and we truly hope no one goes through what we went through. But if it does, take higher ground and just stay there until it goes away, and then just fend for yourself because no one else is going to.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely, climate change is real. You know, scientists will say, they've been saying, you know, where it's hotter, it'll get hotter, where it's colder, it'll get colder. And there is extreme weather, you know, on the Navajo Nation. On top of that, there's drought. But you know, we're so thankful for the water, but because of the drought conditions and you know the sparse plant and vegetation, it makes it easy for the floods to happen.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and because, yeah, so I think, you know, we're just doing the best we can with you guys are doing the best you can with what you guys have, and
Mhm.
as long as, you know, as well as everybody else that are experiencing, you know, these flood emergencies or the climate emergencies. So and you guys are just so positive. You know, just looking at Ariel's videos, she was just so calm and just so collected, and I'm like, wow.
I know she's been getting
You
people
know,
commenting
so
on her like, why are you just laughing? Why? Because, you know, like, wow, look at this water.
yeah,
It
so
has the wash, like we said, has known to go over a little bit, just not that extreme, never that extreme. And it's just, you know, people commenting, you know, sometimes, you know, you get somebody who's funny and says, you know, oh, you got oceanfront property in New Mexico. And like, yeah, we literally did. And then you do have all those other people, like, you know, kind of just bringing you down. And, you know, it did get hard, which is why I turned off, you know, my comments on some of my videos. And, you know, people like, why you live there? Why do you live there if you know there's a wash? It has never, ever been that extreme. And so, and it's not like I had a choice in where the home is. You know, I was little when that house was put there. So, you know, it's just hard to explain to some people who try to bring me down, you know, what was going on. So, but, you know, like I said, I'm glad we're okay. And like my mom said, we did come together, and we're making it almost back to normal for my mom and my grandpa and my dad. There was one point, you know, after when they stayed with us, they couldn't stay there. They had to stay with me. And they didn't have water. They didn't have running water. They didn't have propane, no propane. So the only thing they had was, you know, electricity. And I just knew that we had to get them back over there because that's where they wanted to be. So.
Oh, wow.
But I'm glad, you know, we're making it, you know, nicer, kind of. You know, just a couple weeks before that, you know, my mom was cleaning her yard. And when I called her when it was happening, I said, I don't think, you know, you should come yet because, you know, you don't need to clean your yard anymore. Everything is gone. So, you know, I kind of, you know, took it in as, you know, okay, I don't know what else to do, but, you know, this is kind of funny, you know, stuff are floating away, but we're okay. So that's just how, you know, how positive I was. So.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And hopefully, you know, there will be some folks that donate to your fundraiser, and because there is still a lot to be done around the house, and just to keep your family safe. And it's a climate change awareness story. And so thank you for joining us today, and we hope you guys have a good day. And as well as everyone else that has joined us today on the live. So Hajoshi,
Stop for reaching out, and I'm glad that this is going to be a learning tool for people. You know, this can happen, and it will happen one day if, you know, but just to be prepared and just to look out. So I appreciate you guys reaching out to us and having us share our story. Thank you. And thank you to everyone. Thank you to all my helps and the support that we've been getting from everyone. It's been very heartwarming, and it keeps us strong and keeps us going to finish our repairs. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.